Good evening, everybody. We're coming to you tonight from Littleton, Colorado, from the home of Ed and Charlotte Stoopski. And we've got a special story tonight that we would like to share with everybody. We believe it's going to be a blessing to you. And it's a story of a family reunion, so to speak. And I don't really want to go into too much detail, but y'all know Shawnasi. I want to introduce to you John Stoopski. Now, Shawnasi and John are brother and sister, but they didn't know about each other until 2005. So you've heard us mention some of our other videos. We were out here in 2006. Well, we came out for a visit with John and spent a lot of time with him. This first time in 18 years we've been able to see him again because he's living in another country now, but he's in town visiting family. But we want to let them each tell their story tonight of how they found out about each other. So I'm going to get out of the way, and whoever wants to go first, John, maybe you can go first and just tell your side of it, and then you tell your side of it. And one of the things when you hear this, you're gonna see God's hand at work behind the scenes, just the timing of it, the sheer timing of both of them doing something that they didn't even know the other one existed, and it brought them together. So at this time, I'm gonna move over and let y'all take it from here.
All right. Well, hello everybody. I'm John. So, where do I begin? It was a long, hard road with a beautiful ending, or not ending, but new start.
Yeah.
So I was born John Flanery out of Southern California. I want to preface this. I have the most wonderful father, Ed. He came into our lives, adopted us, and just an amazing man. So, but I knew from a young age I was I didn't know my birth father. It didn't bother me. Every single day, somebody would say, "Oh, you look like such and such." Oh, really? So it was very, very tough. We moved around, through military, and again, I would hear those things. And then as time went on, I know mom, dad did some searching. I did some searching, and finally, just got to a point. The internet was getting to a place. I did mailers. I was mailing across the United States, getting databases on the last name, Flanery, and just trying to find everything. One night, I was writing a paper for college, and I got a pop-up, and I think it was cousinconnection.com, something along that lines. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, well, I'll just take a little pause here, and I wrote up a little bio of what I knew. And it was the man. His name was Troy. He claimed to be from Ireland. He was a chef, and just kind of went down that path. And understood I may have some brothers and sisters out there. So I did this little write up and did another email address. That email address I put out there for people to connect to when I was sending out the mailers. And then I'm just trying to figure out, it was on, I did the post, and I didn't think anything was going to come of it, because all the searches we did just came up empty. And it was maybe 10 days before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was very close to
very close to Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I get a response from this pop-up of cousinconnection.com that I did the post on. And some long lines say, the man you're looking for, I believe, is my father. So you can only imagine, I got the chills right here again. You can only imagine, because it's for so long, it was just dead ends. And so when that happened, I reached out, and then we shared a couple emails, a couple pictures. Mm-hmm. I went back to my mom. I said, was this the guy? I only had a picture of him prior, birth date, and we pieced some pieces together. We shared some more information back and forth, and we realized that this man, Troy Flanery, was our father. Mm-hmm. So I can't even begin to tell you the emotions that I went through of finding this. So I always wanted a sister, so didn't know what I was going to do. And then talked to mom and dad, and y'all invited me out, and I was angry. Obviously not over here. I was angry because I think I knew where this man was now. And I remember telling you, I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go straight to his house or to your house. I'll figure it out when I get to the airport. Rent the car. So rented the car, and I knew exactly where I was going, straight here. So drove out there. The anxiety, the excitement. There was a lot going through my heart and my mind, and y'all lived in an area, and then you had a street name, I believe. I lived in a condo with the same street name. We started having these similarities. That was pretty, Dudley. Yeah, exactly. Which was pretty wild, And then I found y'all. I remember pulling into the driveway, and you had come out, and I'm like, yep, there's my sister. I saw the eyes, I saw our lips, and I'm like, okay.
You should have seen her before you got there. How long does it take? She was so anxious.
I was so excited and so nervous.
Yeah. So we saw each other, and obviously it was a wild experience, and it's very surreal. I mean, it's still surreal. Like when I saw y'all just the other day, it was surreal, and so we stayed up most of the night talking. You showed me videos.
Yeah, pictures, whatever I had.
Yeah, of when y'all got married. And when they did some traveling, they actually came right through Colorado. They're on the video, and I said, Shawnasi, if you'd have taken the right there, you'd have been at mom and dad's house, and I lived around the corner. So it was beautiful, wonderful. And it closed a chapter, but it also opened up new ones. I felt a lot better because, it's that what if. But I'll tell you this, growing up, I was incredibly angry. Have loving parents, but to have somebody can't say the word. To have somebody abandon you as a parent. I can't describe it. The pain's still here. So, yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but all right. So where was I? I don't even know where I was now.
What are you saying about, I guess, just him doing what he did?
Oh, doing what he did, yeah. So just understanding that this man abandoned me, and come to find out there was others. Shawnasi didn't know him growing up. There's other brothers and sisters too that I found, or you knew them, but we're not sure if there's more.
There's one more.
One more. The one that's older. Yeah, the older one. So what I go through, I'm like, that's what you know and I know, but I still have those feelings of, are you a family member? I see people that look like me. So yes, I was very angry, very upset. And kind of take it backwards again. Dating was really tough because I would have to interview every person that I had any kind of interest in. It was like, so where are you from? Who's your dad? Are they biological? Where, you know, because it's like, you know, it's like, hey, you could be my sister kind of thing. And, you know, I dealt with that for a long time. Yeah, it was a lot. It was hard, but it's wonderful. You know, there's beauty in this. It made me. My brothers and I have a wonderful dad now. He adopted all three of us. He shows pure love. We may not have the same blood, but he is the most amazing father. And I try to model myself after him as a dad. Because he's taking just wonderful care of us. So yeah. So it's part of my story. There's a lot more that I feel I've closed off to, but this has been a wonderful moment having y'all back. I recently was married.
This week, congratulations.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very happy about that.
Beautiful lady.
Yeah, she is. She's wonderful. And it brings a lot of joy to me that, you know, Carol gets to meet, you know, Shawnasi and Derek. And so it's really wonderful. So, but yes, there's more, boy. But, you know, it's been, you know, my mom has had a wonderful relationship with Shawnasi, and, you know, I dealt with things differently. And it's just time, you know, for me on that one. But yes, you know, going back to when I saw Shawnasi in the driveway, I saw her eyes, and we had these, you know, very colorful eyes, and you know,
Green.
Yeah,
green.
Yeah, and then I saw her lips and her smile, and I'm like, yeah, she has a bigger smile than I do.
I
I don't
gonna-
have one. It's behind here, but
I was gonna say, because on the Cousin Connect thing, and I'll go back in a little bit when I talk. But when he sent me a picture of him, I said, "You are definitely my brother because you have the nipple and chin too."
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is,
I got that a little bit covered. Yeah.
Run shave off so they can see.
Yeah, I can shave it off. It takes a little while to grow back.
John, when you did the thing with Cousin Connect, that was kind of the last ditch effort, am I correct?
I was getting to, yeah, I was really, you know, I was done. You know, it's time, money, but you know, when that popped up, I really think it was a God thing. It was. I was at a time where I wasn't so angry because I'll be honest with you, if I would have seen him a year or two before that, I wouldn't have shaken his hand. I'll just say that. That's how angry I was. So the timing was right. The timing was absolutely right. Yeah.
So when you came to our house and then you all planned to visit, he didn't know you were coming.
Right.
And we
No.
went down
No.
there. I would have given anything to have been able to have gone that day.
yeah, no, he had no.
Would you
clue.
be able to describe
Oh,
that
yeah.
moment? I mean, it's too hard.
No. So we drove from y'all's house over to their house. And I'll say their house because he was with, I don't remember her name.
Who was he?
He was a lady.
Was it Phyllis at the time?
Yeah.
Phyllis, maybe. Yeah.
So,
and Don was with us.
Yeah.
Our younger brother, Don.
Younger brother, right?
Yeah.
So getting over there, and I remember you had called him from the dinner table, saying that we're gonna come over, and he's like, "Oh, why?"
But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't say anything about you because I was like, he had no clue. No clue.
And I was afraid if he knew, he was gonna run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was that close to, you know, I'll say to catching him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was that close. So, and I'll say it how it was in my world. So, we pull up, and I call it row housing, apartment rows. And when I grew up in Southern California, where I was born, so we were in row housing, so I'm like, wow, this is very similar. Going back to the Dudley thing. And Shawnasi got out, and Derek, I can't remember, but I remember him walking out. I stayed in the car, and then he got out far enough where I said, I can catch him. And that's really what it came down to, because if I got out too soon, he would go back and we'd lock the door. So got out, walked out, and I was still in that I still had some anger in me. What am I gonna do? And this is how I remember it. And we got to a point, I remember just kind of sizing me up, like, who's this guy? And Shawnasi says, Daddy, this is John. And he kind of looks at me, sizes me up, and I go, John Clayton from Riverside, California. He kind of looked at me and took a deep breath back, and he goes, how's your mom? At that moment, it's good I didn't find him 2 years prior. Because how dare you? How dare you? So this is my side, and I can only imagine what you were going through on your side. But we went inside, and I honestly, I wouldn't have recognized him when we walked up.
Really?
No, he changed from the pictures. He still had the hair, but he just changed. It wasn't the young man I had in the picture. He was what, in his 50?
2005, how old? He'd been 65.
65?
65, yeah.
So when I saw him, I was like, okay. So, and I'll be very descriptive how I say this story to other people. He invited us in. He was a chain smoker, had a rag in his hand. The cigarette was barely done, pulling out another one. Just a lot of the world's after me kind of thing. That's the way I took it. But saw a picture on the wall, and we sat down. It was very smoky. I'm allergic to smoke, but I'm like, I'll deal with this. So he kind of peppered me with some more questions. I think he was trying to figure it out. And I pulled out a birth certificate, and then I could really see it in his eyes that he accepted that I found him. So after a few more, a little bit longer, I could see some joy come in his eyes. Like, he was very happy. He goes, well, let's go meet your grandmother. There's an aunt and uncle. And I'm like, oh boy, this is getting bigger and bigger. So I'll summarize. We drove over there, and I remember pulling in. There was 2 houses, and I saw this man driving a little lawnmower. And he had this little beard down here, and I'm like, that has to be a family member, because I said a kind of Irish-looking leprechaunish kind of thing. I was like, I'm trying to be nice, but hopefully this doesn't, But that's exactly what I said. All right. So we park and we go over and say hi to him, and he was kind of like, I could see some almost like he's heard this story before, is the way I took it. But then we went over to the grandma's house.
So who was the man on the lawnmower?
That was one of the uncles.
I think it was Gene.
Yeah, it's one of the uncles. So we went over to the grandma's house, and then I met an aunt. We're all in the house, and the grandma was really tiny, and she smoked too.
They all smoked.
Yeah, they're all heavy smokers.
Yes.
So, but we were all talking, and there was an aunt there, I believe, and then the youngest brother. He was there, but I remember I needed to take a break from the house, so I was walking out, and I went through I believe the kitchen, family room. There was another den, and then out the door, kind of how it was. But I remember the grandmother looking at Troy and says, "How many more?"
I remember that. Yeah.
So again, it was good that I didn't meet him a couple years prior because the pain that man inflicted on me unknowingly, I don't know, but it was tough. Very tough. So we took some pictures. I won't call him family, but we took a family photo, and he was in it.
Grandma was in it. I
Grandma,
remember.
grandma.
Well, Miranda was there too.
Yeah,
wasn't
Brandon.
she? Miranda and Don.
Yeah, Don was there, and the
I think
youngest brother. They were like Byron.
My half brother. Yeah.
So,
I'm trying to remember who all was there because it seemed like there was a lot of us in that picture.
Yeah, so we took the picture, and you know, time was weird at that time, but we had some conversations. Wasn't much. Come visit me, and so on and so forth, and then we're leaving, and we were saying our goodbyes before we went back to his house. No, we left from there, right? We didn't go back.
I don't think so.
We just went. We went back, but I think that's right. So that's right. So when I was leaving, and we're just kind of a handshake and saying goodbye, he said something along the lines, "Tell your mom I'm sorry." Every curse word in my head, and I just looked at him. I was like, "Yeah, whatever," kind of thing. I'm like, if you were had any kind of backbone, you would have done that yourself. But again, I want to reiterate, the most amazing man is sitting right over there, embraced us. So, but yeah, boy, we had a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we've so there's how many marriages that we know about? We're only talking marriages.
Yeah, now my mom was number 5, and there was 2 after mom, but no children after my mom. So we were the youngest set of kids.
Now, Teresa, who was the other one?
Phyllis.
I don't think they were married, did they?
So
I thought there were 7, unless I'm forgetting one.
well, we found when I came back to Colorado, we were communicating. I think we were still searching divorce records as best we could back then, and you found another one up in
New York.
Not with
Are you talking about sister, or are you talking about
wife? The one up in Grand Lake. He was up in Grand Lake.
Possibly.
You're in Colorado,
right? Yeah, this is how I remember our conversation because he was.
You may remember that better than I.
Yeah, so we had talked. I remember I was sitting in my car and we were talking about it, and I'm like, no, it was so close. So it was up in Grand Lake, and I think how he explained it to me. She came home, got a note from him. Like, I'm leaving, but there was no kids, and that was it. And he was gone. So that's where I know we talk about the marriages, and I always say, well, how many more? It's the grandmother that kind of stuck in my head.
Yeah.
How many more? And I know we talked, and there was an Uncle Johnny I've never met.
He actually lives in town, and
He
he
works
does
at
our
our
lawnmowers, so I see him regularly.
Do you really?
Yeah.
And I know you had said that we look alike.
Don't they?
We look a lot alike.
Except you've got a lot more hair than he
Yeah,
does.
I live on an island now, so I'm letting my hair grow before it all falls out. So we, you had said he was a truck driver.
Yeah, he used to.
And one of the main roads is Colfax, and I used to work out there. And he said he was a truck driver, so these are those times where people can cross paths. And I always was growing up, I'm like, well, you're a family member, you're a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, anything. And I'm sure we probably crossed paths. I mean, this is how close you all, just the other day, we missed each other by...
Before we come over here,
right before
we were at Walmart, and they went to Walmart. So.
We barely missed each other. So, but yeah, it's been healing, definitely healing. Yeah, I can't say I feel sorry for him because it was his decisions, and he hurt a lot of people. He hurt a lot of people. And again, I'm gonna say it again. I know there has to be more.
Yeah. Well, and how this all came about, and since he had put this profile on Cousin Connect, I'm at work, bored one day, go to Google, and I type in my dad's name, and Cousin Connect pops up.
Now, why did you do that?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
let me give a little background on my
And
dad.
how long had you put the thing on Cousin Connect?
It was pretty quick.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's
It was shockingly quick.
this is where the hand of God is so
Absolutely.
in the timing.
Yeah.
So basically, my dad was 13 years older than my mom. I knew my dad had a very shady past, and I didn't know everything about him. And I also knew that there was an older set. I have a older brother and 2 sisters, and they got to be mid-60s, upper 70s possibly. I found out about them when I was like 9 or 10. I remember them coming over to the house and Mom saying, "These are some of your dad's kids from another marriage." Well, I was young, and one of them had a daughter close to our age, so us kids just go off and play. But as you get older, you kind of think about things. And I knew we had moved from Minnesota to North Carolina, and I always heard that it was because Dad wanted to be near his mom. But I found out later it was because Dad needed to be on the run again. So I'm at work, I'm bored. I put Dad's name in Google, Cousin Connect pops up. So it wasn't his name, but he said looking for my birth father, and the things he was describing on my birth certificate, it says my dad's from Ireland, chef by trade. Dad has been a chef numerous places and a lot of different things. And I don't remember if you said anything about polio or
Yeah,
not.
polio.
Yeah,
Yep.
he had polio. So I'm like,
I thought
okay.
did you not list your? His
I
name?
listed everything that I knew about him. So
And I'm just going off what I
Yeah.
can remember now, but I just
Mhm.
remember replying thinking, okay, this could possibly be, a family member. And I remember reaching out to Derek and telling him. So yeah, we started emailing back and forth. And when he sent me a picture, I'm like, you are definitely my brother. I can just see it. I think we still have that picture. So yeah, then we coordinated for you to come out here. And
Right before Thanksgiving.
right before Thanksgiving, and then coordinated to go to Dad. So to me, I'm just excited. I'm like, I've got an older brother who's not that much older than me. Here, I thought I knew about the other ones, but I didn't really know them because we didn't interact, and it was just pretty neat for me. But I didn't have all the emotions of the feelings that you had, So to me, it was all exciting. I've got a brother that's coming out here. So yeah, we didn't tell Dad anything about it. It was quite an emotional day, probably more so for you. But to me, it was like wow. And Dad's reaction was kind of shameful. Really, it was. And because of all this, I went on Ancestry.com. And I started doing some digging, trying to look at marriage certificates. Birth certificates a little bit more hard. And I questioned Mom about it. So some of the things that she had told me about their relationship, and this is before Mom became a Christian, she had said they got married before I was born. I was the oldest. Come to find out, they got married in 1980. I was 3. It was right before he moved to North Carolina. Dad was on the run from Minnesota because of something that he had did. So Dad apparently had this whole big history where he was constantly running. I know he had several different Social Security numbers. I found that out after he passed, going through his things. And we grew up with not much. I mean, Dad worked, but there was 5 of us kids, and it was always hard. And so when I met you and I saw your parents, I thought you were very blessed.
Amen.
You had a very good growing up. I mean, I had a good childhood too. Just you couldn't be close to Dad. Dad was always tired. He was angry, but he never abused us in any way. You just were kind of just letting Dad be, So, I mean, yeah, God was definitely in it when He put the time in there. So I'm very thankful for that. And then coming out here in 2006, you coming in 2005, and then coming back now, it's just family reunion for me.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
The only regret is there's been 18 years between
Yeah.
visits.
Yeah.
So we'll have to fix that.
Yeah, we'll fix that for sure. Fix that for sure.
But it's been great. But questioning Mom on some of the stuff, I do know that there is another sister. I believe she's older than you.
Right.
Because, like I said, once I was older and I questioned Mom, Dad had to pay child support, and there was no getting around it, so he had to tell Mom about that. So that's basically all I know there. I did find a birth certificate, found a name on Facebook, messaged, no one ever responded, so I don't know how to, pursue that, but, maybe one day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we don't know if there's more or not, because Dad, all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, he and my mom, I don't remember if they met in Minnesota, but I know they were living in Oregon when she got pregnant with me, and that's why they moved back to Minnesota to be with Mom's family and stuff. So yeah, all over the place.
Yeah.
I just think about how things could have been different if you had never moved from Minnesota to North Carolina and worked in a bank.
Yeah.
You had the time to just
And be bored.
Yeah. Thankfully I was bored that day.
Sorry, bank.
Who sits at work and then just puts their dad's name in on Google? But if you hadn't have done that,
And,
we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
and I remember you telling me it's you'd never really done that before. You never
Mm-mm.
something.
Just put it
Put
on
a little fire behind her to type in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How do you
Flanery.
explain that outside?
Yeah.
Go on. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
It was God's timing. So
Mhm. It definitely was.
yeah, but you can definitely see the differences. You got to grow up with them. My pain is very it's non-transparent unless I talk about it. But I'm open to talk about it all the time. I guess it got a little more emotional because it's deep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They are deep.
Yeah.
They're
You carry something from your childhood on,
it still hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
And then
Still-
even knowing now the search is over, that has to bring all that emotion
Mhm.
to the surface.
It's the search to find him is over or was over, but I still always feel there's somebody else or other people, and that breaks my heart. I hope they had a wonderful. I'm looking at my mom over here, a wonderful family and growing up, because it was tough on me.
God works in mysterious
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, very, very, very tough. So, and even when he passed, I struggled with it, and I ended up not going. I got the time off from work, and honestly, I couldn't get out of bed. The depression was so bad, and I just couldn't get out of bed. And I guess I didn't have to say goodbye. I'd already closed that chapter, kind of thing. But he did send me, when we were at his apartment, he sent me some pictures of his father, and I took him back here to Colorado, and my son at the time, I laid out all the pictures. I'm like, who are these guys? There's 3 pictures, and he goes, they're all you, Dad. And I said, no. I said, well, just so you know, I had to explain, Grandpa is my adopted father, but the one over here on the right is me. The guy in the middle, he's the guy that was there when I was conceived. I can't even call him a father or dad. Forgive me.
No,
I
it's
can't. And his father. And it's amazing if you look at all these pictures how much we looked alike, and so I get it.
Yeah.
When I saw, I was like, man, his hair was a little bit curlier and darker. But yeah. But yeah, it's been a blessing.
It definitely has.
Yeah.
Our families have grown and have knitted together,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just nice knowing that I'm not the oldest child anymore. I have an older brother.
And I'm the baby in this family, and I get away with everything, so now I'm the oldest.
And you and I are only, a month apart?
Yeah.
What day in May is your?
I'm May 17th.
So we're a month and 2 days apart. in
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So I have an older brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. For
So, yeah,
it's
it's-
worth.
It's been awesome.
It's great.
It's warm to sit here now.
Yeah. And I'm just glad, in 2005 that happened because Dad passed in 2010,
Right.
and you had been searching for so many years,
And you did get to see him.
and you got to meet him and close that door,
Yeah.
and just have that.
Because otherwise I'd be sitting here. I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
And so thanks for doing a Google search. Thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah, should have bought stock. Should have bought stock. Yeah.
I think about that scripture that says all things work together for good to them that love God.
That's true.
Romans 8:28. It's like He can take the worst situation and bring something like this out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, there's all these other little pieces that are in there. I tried to carve your Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
I tried. I did a terrible job. I love to cook and wanted to become a chef, and it was weird when you were telling me. It's like Troy was this, and I was like, from childhood, I always wanted to be a chef, and I didn't follow that passion when I started working in the restaurants just around the corner here at age 15, washing dishes, and then I realized pretty quick that it's working evenings, holidays, and I was like, I don't want to have that lifestyle because you learn a lot in a restaurant real quick. Not always beneficial, not always good. So I didn't go down that path. So I, got into sales and, still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up, so.
This is who introduced me to avocado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Avocados are delicious.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
I love
They're
them.
delicious. Yeah. Yeah. So.
I let her enjoy them all.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
my wife and I, we eat a lot of avocados.
I
So-
love them.
Since we were here, sorry, you had some.
Yeah, no, they're starting to fruit where I live in the Caribbean, and they're starting to fruit now. So we call them pears, and they're really this big. So the Hass avocados here are much smaller, but they're, we get them out there. But boy, they're in season now. So
Well, I'm just glad you were still in Colorado in 2006 because I've always loved this state, and that gave us an excuse to come back out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now you're living in Island Paradise.
Island Paradise, you
Yeah.
bet. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. That's where I met my wife, and it's always good to say that, where I met my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, she's a wonderful lady.
So congratulations to the newlyweds.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just scrolling Facebook about 5 or 6 days ago and saw that, so I knew we were going to be here at the end of the week.
Yeah.
But really glad we've been posting a lot of videos of our trip. I'm glad we got to change gears a little bit and do this tonight. So
It's been
thank
nice
y'all
just
so much for.
sitting here reminiscing and just talking and
Yeah.
catching up.
I know when Derek asked me this morning to do this video.
It's still recording.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would have been Sarah.
Yes, we're gonna do this all again.
Yeah. Just kidding, we're starting over. Yeah, so no, just kidding. When he asked me to do this video, I'm not good in front of a camera. I said this to you earlier.
No,
You're
I'm like,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to him. I
think you did
thought you were doing
Yeah.
so good.
And-
I'm like,
He's
wow.
been a model.
But
He's
yeah,
good in front of the
Thank you.
camera.
but yeah,
Mom cheerleading. over
yeah,
there.
mom's cheerleading over there.
Mhm.
But it raised some anxiety. It raised definitely some anxiety because I knew I was going to have to touch on some very sensitive things that, I've forgiven. I've moved on. I did forgive the man. I will say that. I had to do that because I just said if I met him earlier, my action would have been different. And I was very clear. I would tell people in high school that if I found this man, but timing was right. And
God's
it's
perfect timing.
yeah, absolute blessing. So, yeah, but it's a bizarre thing. If you're going through this, it does get better. It definitely gets better.
Mhm.
Healing I'm always healing. It does come up. And I can't say on a daily basis, but it does come up.
And you deal with that
And
at
yeah,
the time.
and I just deal with it. And I openly talk about this. You know, it doesn't hurt to talk about it. That's the big piece of, you know, if anybody's watching this, talk about it. Yeah, obviously you saw me cheer up. Yeah, you get a little emotional, but talk about it. Seek help. Family's good to talk to, but also just getting therapy and other places to discuss these things is really good. And it's very unbiased, and it's, you know, you can, a trained professional can bring things together and help you cope with things and deal with things. And you know, it's sometimes I put stuff down, and then when it's timing, it'll come back up when I'm ready to deal with it. So, but yeah.
And then when you're searching for someone, don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Yeah.
You know, you may feel like this is your last ditch thing, and the Lord may say, okay, then this is the time. And
Yeah.
that's what worked out for you. So just, keep looking. And like you said, the hurt and stuff, don't hold it in. Talk to the Lord about it, you know. Call out to him, ask him for guidance and for him to lead you in that way. And, you know,
Yeah.
he will.
Yeah. And I'll say the world's getting smaller with technology. There's a lot of data out there. And if you're suffering from this, you know, it's the information's out there. You know, you can find it. So, all right.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Close her out. Say whatever you want to say.
So thankful I have an older brother.
She keeps emphasizing
And you know,
that
older.
I know that's fine.
Because I was always the oldest, and now it's like I don't have to be the oldest.
You know, one of the things, like I was watching you sit over there before this, and I don't know if you can see, I have a pillow, but I always sit on my leg, and you were sitting on your leg the same way. So you start to see these mannerisms that.
Well, I had a pillow on top of me over there.
I live with the pillow.
And I would have done it again, and he asked me to do.
I'm like, do you need a pillow?
I said that would be awkward if we both had a pillow on our lap. And I had my leg tucked under like he did, but my knees are not as good and can do that for as long. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm the older brother. My knees are better. Is that what you're saying?
You apparently must have better knees.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for coming into my life.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, both you.
Yeah.
All four of you.
And I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Mom has another daughter, or
Sit
a
down,
daughter.
let them see.
Yeah.
John, introduce your mom.
Yeah. So everybody, this is Charlotte. This is Mom.
This was Troy's wife at one time in California.
Yeah.
I've been one of the many wives that Troy had, and I'm so thankful that John and Shawnasi were seeking and to find one another and take the risk, because it's a risk. It's hard on these kids when they're growing up, and I can tell you, John searched and searched, took classes on how to search, and we had a couple detectives that we were actually friends with that had searched, and the doors kept closing.
You got close.
Yeah, we got close a few times, but you know, it wasn't God's timing. And now that we can all look back at it, we can say God's timing is perfect. Trust in, believe that the Lord will guide you and direct you in the path He has for you. Seek Him and believe Him that He will in His timing, not our timing. It was really hard watching, you know, my baby boy hurt for so long, and then when he was in high school and then looking at, you know, having children and things like that, he wanted more information for his children, and the doors kept closing until, you know, Shawnasi and John were able to connect. And I think I would just want people to know and understand you can love a person and not know them. And this is an opportunity, if there's someone else out there that's hurting and has some questions, like you're saying, get help. There's help out there. Get it. Don't hold it. I know for me, I held it for many years. I wouldn't talk to people about, you know, I felt like I wasn't a good enough person, you know, and all these lies that the devil seeks to destroy and what is good. But now the healing of being able, yes, I have a daughter by another mother, and she's the most beautiful thing. I couldn't have asked for a better one. So I just wish anyone that is watching this, you know, contact these people, get more information. If you need someone to talk to,
We'll be happy to.
yeah, they'll direct you. So.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, and we can disappear.
All right. Bye.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
I think this is going to help some people.
it helped me.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're talking about
Yeah.
your past and things that have happened, but when you talk and you have someone to talk to about it that knows professionally how to guide you and direct you and love you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah.
And too, it's going to be a blessing to a lot of people hearing that, you know, hearing about someone searching, you know, and then being reunited and just, you know, seeing the Lord's hand and all that.
Yeah.
People are going to get a blessing from that. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, the word abandonment.
Yeah.
I can't say I still live with it, but it's still really close. You know, over time, I continued to work on it and talk with people. You know, but if you experience that or experiencing it, seek help, talk to people, because it's this. You know, again, thank you for doing this, because this was the right time for me to do something.
If I can throw in another angle here, I think this story shows how a person's bad decisions can hurt and affect so many others.
Yes. That's true.
And this is not, the purpose of this was not to put down your father and the man who conceived you, but it's just bad decisions made by one individual out of selfishness can have such an impact on somebody for years, not just short term but long term.
A lifetime.
Yeah.
But again, something wonderful came from it, and that's great.
Yeah.
Just keep trusting, believing in the Lord, and He will. He will do the healing in His time.
That's true.
And I don't know why that just came to me. I hope there's nobody watching this that's maybe thinking of doing something like that, or leaving or running away. But just really think of not just today, but down the road, the repercussions that can have.
Yeah, the repercussions on a child is, I'll speak as a child because it was me. Many times I'd just rather be dead because the pain was so hard. But obviously that didn't happen. I'm here and everything's good. But you get to those dark places. So, and to feel that way is a pretty rotten thing. But it wasn't my decision. And that's what I had to figure out. It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of Mom. It was Troy's decision and, you know, his lifestyle, or however, you know.
Yeah, you guys were the innocent victims, and there was a lot of other people that, like he was saying, you know, we don't know. We know of one other for sure, but, you know, there could be more.
Wasn't there there's a brother and two sisters that wouldn't met?
Yeah.
For some reason I thought it was 4.
Well, the youngest one was never sure if that was dad's or not.
Well, no, over at the other house. I went and visited them without you.
Yeah, their youngest brother's name's Kyle.
Okay, so
so Debbie, Teresa, and Mark, for sure, their youngest brother's name's Kyle. But Dad, I think he had the last name Flanery, but I don't know for sure if he was Dad's. That's one of those things, you know, we just.
So I want to mention at the end, we're going to close the hometown newspaper. Got this story when you were in town, back where we live, and they did a write-up on this story. So I'm going to actually close. I took a video of that earlier. Okay. I'm going to put that here at the end. So
we could keep talking, and we're just at the top. So.
Dad, can I introduce you?
Absolutely.
Dad.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So I want to introduce my dad. This is This is Ed.
Come a little closer. Oh, here we go. You sit next to me.
Okay, this is my father. This is
There
my
you go.
father.
You always wanted a daughter.
Yeah.
They
and,
did. I always did.
There she is.
Dad adopted us, us three boys, two older brothers. My dad adopted us back in 1970. What year did you adopt us?
We got adopted you in 1974.
74. Okay, I was going to say, I should just say what was on my mind. 74. So we were adopted by dad, and you know, to those people that feel that, you know, awful stuff happens, but this man's a blessing. So
You betcha.
Yeah.
so I model, you know, I do my best to be like dad, and when I screw up, which happens a lot,
You blame your mother?
you know, I kind of look at dad and it's like, how did he handle it? You know, how does he handle it? And you know, sometimes words, it's actions, you know, that he does that I see and hear. So, but
I can tell you how he's handled it with love. Unconditional love.
I'm proud of my sons,
Yeah.
but I was extremely proud of John going through and trying to find who he was and who he was related to, and being able to locate as many brothers and sisters as he was. And it gave us this opportunity to meet Shawnasi and spend so much time with her and her husband and her sons. And it was a blessing to us too. But, you know, the fortitude that John stuck with in trying to locate his birth father, and we had no hesitations or qualms about it at all. You know, his concern was he had 3 children at the time and didn't want to take a chance in case there was a hereditary health problem that he might have been concerned about, and his willingness to dig and pursue. And I'm glad that you answered him.
Yes.
Shawnasi. I'm so glad that
Me
happened.
too.
And another thing is, sorry, Dad, I'll just jump in here. It's as somebody that was searching, I had a lot of guilt because Dad sits right there. But I'm trying to close this chapter. So, but you know, my dad was always helping, and you know, he's quiet about it, but they were always searching, always helping, because they know how much it impacted me. And so what I want to say is if you're struggling with something like this, talk to that person, and I'm pretty sure they'll be very understanding. You know, that, you know, I have a very understanding, you know, father that really helped me through this whole thing. You know, so thank you again.
Mom and I had no hesitations at all in wanting you to close that chapter. And I'm just glad you pursued it,
And thank you
it
for
worked out
doing
right.
this.
It worked out great.
We have.
Right.
Because, John, I mean,
Except-
look at the blessing. Look
Yeah.
how beautiful your sister is.
Yeah, I know.
And I got another son.
Yeah.
Well, that article there mentioned something about John knew he had 2 siblings, and then he finds out that he's got at least 9. And so the same with Mom and I. We gain so much more. So much more, and wish we could actually meet the rest of your family too. Both of your families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me just say this about Ed and Charlotte. So if you ever watched our video, our journey together, we talk about a couple with just great marriage wisdom. This is them.
We actually mentioned them in that
Yes,
video.
they have the greatest marriage. I love watching them, listening to them talk. It's like, it's amazing. They're just so sweet to each other. And I'm like, me and him, it's like we'll bite each other's heads off. I'm like, they never do that.
Not in public.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, not in public, yeah.
It's like, I just love it.
No.
But,
Yeah.
you know, as
We're blessed.
Yeah, as a new married man, you know, absolutely, I look at you two as to model myself to be a good husband.
I think the example we mentioned in that video, when you guys were in Charlotte, we met up with you. you were trying to do something with a phone or a camera.
She was trying to take a picture with a new phone
Yeah.
or something. And he said, here, let me help you with that. So he's doing something, and
It's
he's
not
obviously
working.
not getting it. She goes, thank you for trying, and took the phone
If
back.
that had been one
rather
of
than,
us, it'd be like, give me that. You don't know what you're doing.
but it was like,
Yeah.
that was just so
Yeah,
nice.
that was a lesson for us. How
We've not forgotten how many years.
She's the kind one. I would have said, give me that.
But
Yeah, this has been great.
yeah, so that's,
I'll
Yep.
get out of your picture here.
All right. Well, thanks, Dad.
yeah.
Thanks for stepping up and being a man.
Well, thank you from the bottom of my heart, spending time to listen to this and watch this. And
Encourage other people to tell their
Absolutely.
stories
Yeah.
and not to be and live in fear, because fear is not of the Lord.
Yeah.
And freedom comes from telling your stories.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I didn't
So-
know there were so many terrorists still there.
oh yeah,
But yeah.
there's still closets.
We're still working.
working
We're
on it.
a work in progress. until-
Work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always.
the Lord calls us home.
Yeah. So the Lord's been good, and we're blessed
Amen.
and thankful. So thank you for watching.
Do we have a special sign out?